So this lesson is going to be a very short one about stratified random sampling versus cluster samples, and just some extra information about sampling. In a stratified random sample, the population is grouped by common characteristics first, and then we use the SRS, the simple random sample method, within each group. Remember, that's to number each person or item, and then to find some way of choosing randomly the people that will be a part of the sample. Those people or those things are chosen, and they are combined into one sample, and a measurement is taken. The difference in a cluster sample is that it's based on location, and the location is chosen so that it looks like the population, which means it's representative of the population that you're interested in knowing about, and everyone in the location is chosen for measurement in that sample. So groups are classified by location near each other rather than by a common characteristic. Once those groups are chosen and classified, then we do an SRS of locations, and we're assuming that those locations will be representative of the population again, so that those locations will look like the population, and we'll do an SRS of them and choose them to get the sample. Inference is the process of drawing conclusions about a population by a random sample. So that's our whole point of this, is that we're going to make a sample from a population so that we can process that information and draw a conclusion about the entire population of interest. In the sampling, we have a margin of error, and this is the maximum expected difference between the true population parameter and the sample estimate of that parameter. Remember that the sample is simply an estimate of a full population. We could do a census or try to do a census, which would give us a better estimate as a sample, because we would be taking everything in that population as part of the sample. However, that's usually not time. We don't have enough time to do that or enough money to do that. So we take a smaller sample and we make, there's a margin of error there. We also want to look at a sampling frame. It's a list of individuals from whom the sample is drawn, and those individuals may be in the population of interest, but they may not be in the sampling frame. So the sampling frame is who we actually draw the sample from, not the entire population in some cases. We will look at number 8 in class tomorrow. I will add this as an extra video for those people who are doing this online, but we will be doing that. And then we will also be looking at the number 9. And then on this page with undercoverage, non-response, response bias, and wording of questions, we did talk about that in class today, and I just want to quickly, I'm not going to write anything down, I just want to verbalize it. So for undercoverage, that's where some group of the population that you're interested in is missing. They were not included in the surveys. For example, we talked about landline phones and how that would be an overestimate of older people, because we have the younger people don't tend to have those landline phones at home. We can look at non-response, and non-response bias is, we have a sample, we've sent out a survey, we have made phone calls, and we have never received a response back from one of the people in our sample. Although we feel like it's important to get that information, they will not respond. So for non-response bias to occur, that means that we'd never heard from that person that we wanted to hear from. Response bias, you have to get a response from them to be able to say it is response bias. So we take a sample. For example, I can do a survey and I can ask a question. By the way I ask the question, it can change the response that I get from somebody. So I asked today in class, do you like cartoons? Do you still like cartoons? And research shows that if you like cartoons, you are not as smart as other people. Do you like cartoons? And so we talked about the response bias and how some people might be more willing to tell the truth, but others would want to lie and make it be like, no, I don't watch cartoons because I don't want to seem dumb. The other issue is with administration and a survey about drug use or about behaviors and activities outside of school. And if they are asking you in person or by email and you're replying to that, you may be more likely to not be honest about what you do or not reply, regardless of how you act when you're outside of school. So these are some things that we need to think about when it's response bias. It is something that has affected you so that you respond a particular way, and the wording of the question is oftentimes the most the most important reason for that, but sometimes it's the person who's doing the questioning as well. So we will also talk about some of these other things in here with numbers 10 and 11 tomorrow in class, but I just wanted to make this one a short one. Have a good evening.